Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Life in the Red podcast. Luke Mullin and Amie Just, as usual, coming at you after it's been a few days. It's been a week.
It has been a week.
There's been
maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
A week and a half.
Yeah, I don't know what time is anymore. It's a figment of my imagination.
Yeah, but there's been games. There's been news. There's been a lot.
News.
Yeah, there's been a lot to get through. So not going to dilly-dally too much. Want to get into the biggest news of the week, the month. I mean, it's a historic event that we heard from all the dignitaries from Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Memorial Stadium will be filled somewhat for a volleyball game. We're very interested to see, how many tickets get sold, the details of the event as it all comes together in the next couple of months. But I mean, just the fact that they're going to play an outdoor volleyball game and it's very likely going to break the single game attendance record. I mean, it's an incredible historic event that they've got planned.
Yeah. So it's going to be 2 volleyball matches, an exhibition match between UNK and Wayne State, 2 of the best programs in Division II. Yeah. What an exhibition match that's going to be for those who really like Division II volleyball. And then, so that match is going to be at like 4:30, I believe, on August 30th. And then Nebraska UNO will be at 7 p.m., likely going to be televised on Big Ten Network, I believe is what Trev Alberts said. And that then it will be followed by a country concert. They can't announce who it is just yet. I know who it is, but they can't announce who it is just yet because of a contractual obligation. But yeah, it's going to be fun. As far as how many people are going to show up, I think it's going to be more than people expect because the price point of tickets are very affordable because they want families to be able to come and participate. If you are a University of Nebraska student, it's free. So if you want to be a part of that, students are able to come in at no cost to them. I believe the youth tickets are like $5, and then general tickets are $25. So that's that gets you a lot. That gets you to watch a Division II game earlier in the afternoon, a Division I match. That should be pretty good, and then a concert at the end of it. So, but if you want to count towards the attendance, you have to be in I believe the second set of the Nebraska match. So yeah, it could be really interesting. Some dignitaries were calling for a complete sellout. That would be, I don't even know what word to use. Good thing I have 6 months to figure it out. But yeah, it's going to be super exciting, and it's going to be a wild week for Lincoln and the University of Nebraska, because there's a big concert the night before at PBA, and then you have this, and then for people pulling the volleyball, football double header like myself, gonna have to go to Minnesota bright and early on Thursday morning because
Quick turnaround.
Matt Rule's season opener is that Thursday. Wild times.
Certainly. I mean, kicking things off right there in August, it's like no time to ease into the season for volleyball or for football. It's going to be a big, eventful weekend. And I just think, it's such a cool event, hearing from John Cook and, of course, Trev Alberts, everyone who was involved in the presentation kind of spoke about just how much Nebraska is a volleyball state and how that stuff is, of course, we've got Nebraska volleyball. You have these top end, high level, Division I players that are the best of the best. And as you mentioned, you got Division II programs who are incredible. You've got club volleyball teams who play year round. They win national tournaments too. High school teams, even all the way down to, the freshman volleyball team. There's such passion for volleyball in this state. And an event like this, it'll show it off on a big scale that really I don't think anywhere else in the country could pull off.
Yeah, no. And I haven't looked into the specifics, but if they have more than 50,000 people, that's going to be the 3rd largest crowd for a volleyball match in the world, ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. The world record is 95,000. I don't think they're going to beat that one. But it's wild just to think about, we're not talking about like, ooh, an NCAA regular season record anymore. Like, this could be one of the biggest crowds that's ever watched a volleyball game in the world.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, just being part of history, if you're there in the stadium, you can be like, oh, I was part of that historic crowd. What I'll be very interested to see is kind of, the way that they set up the court, preliminarily in the south end zone. It's north end zone, sorry. It's volleyball, it's played in a small amount of space, right? It's like your view from the other end of the stadium would be very interesting. So I think that, that's kind of are they really going to be able to sell it out? Because, how great of a view are you going to be getting eventually? But I think that the interest is going to be there for everybody. I mean, it's like you said, cheap tickets. The one thing I do think, Wednesday night, that kind of, obviously if you're somebody who lives, 2-3 hours away from Lincoln, that might be a little bit challenging as it's not on the weekend, but
put in your PTO now. Beat your coworkers to the punch. Put it in now. But no, I joke. So if tickets dictate, they're going to move the court more towards the south.
Middle,
yeah. So, but we'll see. But even if it's only the sides that fill up, that's insane.
Oh, no doubt.
But also, you can make the point where they play the Final Four in football arenas.
Mm-hmm.
View's not super great from the top there either, but people fill it up. People
Definitely.
go. Because it's not just about what's happening on the floor. It's about the experience and the atmosphere and everything with it. And you'll have some people who just want to buy tickets to go to the concert, or people who just want to buy tickets just to be there and they don't really care. Because I think it's going to be something that we're going to talk about for a really long time. I just really, 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 really hope it doesn't rain.
Yeah.
Is that
no
enough
doubt.
reallys? Is that enough reallys? I don't think so. Because if it does, if weather messes with things, then they'll move it to Devaney.
Yeah.
Which is fun to, still celebrate volleyball, but kind of takes away a lot of it from how special this could be. So pray to whatever God you do or do not believe in that it doesn't rain that day.
And hopefully it's not too hot as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can only imagine the struggle. I mean, if it's like 90 degrees out there, the players are like sweating, it's that'd be a tough circumstance to play in. But what I do like too is they kind of have the vision, depending on how long the first match runs of, the Nebraska volleyball match, the sun setting, during it. I mean, you just think about how cool that setting would be. I mean, that's the vision that they're going for. And like you said, we hope it all gets pulled off without any issues, which for a big event like this, it's that's the challenge for sure.
Yeah. One of the local meteorologists put out like the historical forecast for that day. Appears to be pretty decent.
Right.
Not much rain has typically fallen on that day. And then the average temperature is like 85.
Gotcha.
So we'll see.
That's the baseline.
We have 6 months before this happens, but I'm super excited about it. I'm probably going to be a zombie by the end of the week, but that's okay.
Yeah, just seeing the promo videos, Lindsay Krause walking out of the tunnel, tunnel walk. I mean, that stuff, that's
chills.
incredible. So,
Chills.
yeah, we'll look forward to following with that. But right now, both the men's and women's basketball teams in the midst of postseason pushes, kind of battling for everything that they have, and they're both kind of in unique positions. We'll start with the men's team because they've now won 4 in a row, 5 of the last 6. They're on a heater right now. I mean, there's no other way of putting it.
Yeah, to put it into context, the men's basketball team has not won 4 straight Big Ten games since like the 2017-18 season. That's nuts. They won 4 straight, regardless of opponent, last year, early in the season against some chump opponents. So that's wild. And back in that 2017, 2018 stretch, they won 6 in a row to close out the regular. It's like middle of the Big Ten season. So, but as Fred has said, this is like 3 different teams this year, right? Because you have, the 5 games without Derek Walker, and then you have, the team that they had, Jawan Gary and Emmanuel Bandamel, and now you have this group, and you could have counted them out. A lot of people did when they were on their losing streak and things didn't look very good, but they've really turned things around, and it's pretty incredible. As of right now, they are squarely in the NIT conversation. We will see how the next 2 games affect that, and they're showing at the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, and just to touch on a few of the games, real quick, the individual results. Beat Rutgers on the road. That started off the 3-game stretch, home game stretch. Pair of wins so far, 70-66 overtime win over Maryland. And that was a really key one because second half, Maryland, they went on a pretty big run there, and it was kind of slipping away. But Derek Walker had a good game. Keisei Tominaga hit a couple threes there at the end of regulation and in overtime. And the big play, I think you put that one on the season highlight reel, the Sam Hoiberg steal coming flying up the court and get that layup. I mean, that was a heads-up play, and one, honestly, it's high risk, high reward. I mean, if he doesn't get that ball, could have been a 5-on-4 opportunity for Maryland, obviously. So what a huge play that was, and his emergence as a guard for this team has been pretty incredible to watch.
Yeah, and not only that, that obviously is one of the highlights of the season. He played 37 minutes in that game. A walk-on.
Yeah.
Playing 37 minutes. And that's crazy to me, just because that was not his role. When you are a guy who is out of the rotation, you are a scout team guy. Mm-hmm. You don't focus on your offense. You are focusing on the other teams, right? Because you're pretending to be them to help better the guys who are playing, so they've got a good scout. So just the transition that he made, a quick one. It's been amazing for this team because they've really needed him.
Yeah, I'm going to wager that there are not very many walk-ons playing 37 minutes of high-level basketball this season.
Granted, it was an overtime game, but still.
It's very impressive.
Still, more than 30 minutes in regulation.
Yeah.
Wild.
And followed it up with pretty much the least stressful win they've had in a while, 78-67 win over Minnesota, which they are bottom of the Big Ten. They are having a pretty rough year there up in Minnesota, but Big Ten wins always don't come easy, and it kind of brings us to this point now where Senior Day celebration coming up, Sam Griesel, Derek Walker, Emmanuel Bandamel, and as we learned today, Keisei Tominaga walking. But again, as you put the feelers out there,
don't freak out.
This is not the end.
Don't freak out. Don't freak out. So even though Keisei is a junior on the floor, he has 1 year of eligibility left. He is a senior academically, and Nebraska likes to celebrate however you are a senior, right? And so he has played 4 years of college basketball, 2 JUCO, 2 here. But, we're in a weird time with these COVID years, right? So normally, this would be it for him. But he has 1 more year of eligibility due to COVID. A decision has not been made there yet. We talked to Fred this morning. That will come afterward. The reasons why he is walking is because, number one, he is a senior academically, and his parents are here from Japan. And they wanted to be able to celebrate that because it's the first time they've seen him in about a year. The game on Saturday was the first time they'd watched him play a basketball game in person since he was in high school. That was 5 years ago. And so this is a really special weekend for them. And yeah, maybe Keisei comes back. Maybe he doesn't. That doesn't matter. Celebrating him right now is the best thing to do because it is standard practice. This is Derek Walker's 3rd senior day. Sam Griesel went through senior day at North Dakota State last year. This is not a new thing.
Yeah.
I do know, and I understand how jarring it is for fans who, we did our senior interviews earlier this week with, Emmanuel and Sam and Derek, and then, you see Casey on the graphic today. Like, I get how that can be a little jarring, but he hasn't made a decision yet. It's very similar to Jazz Shelley and Izzy Bourne for the women's team. They still have a year of eligibility left. They went through senior stuff on Sunday as well. Neither of them have made their decisions yet either. Very similar situations, as they're all three international students who have several different options in front of them. So don't freak out. Just be happy for Casey that he's getting this moment with his family, and maybe he comes back, but we don't know just yet, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, thanks for breaking down the whole situation there. And I mean, I think it's worth noting this isn't like a Nebraska specific thing. Like, this is happening everywhere across the country in every sport because of that COVID year that disrupted things. And eligibility is just different. Transfers, as you mentioned. I mean, it's a whole smorgasbord of stuff to get that done. But final 2 games coming up for the team. It's that senior night game that'll be Tuesday night. Huskers host Michigan State, then they'll end the year at Iowa on Sunday. Winning one of those 2 would be really big, obviously, for their postseason chances and for the Big Ten tournament seeding. Right now, everything's still in flux a little bit, but Nebraska likely between the 10 and the 12 seed right now.
Yeah, there's a bit of a log jam there. There's several log jams with the Big Ten right now because it's just so hard to win conference games. You have really good teams who have bad records in the Big Ten. Like, it's just, that's the way it is this year. That's the way it is most years. But yeah, so winning one of those will be good for those who are making the trek over to PBA on Tuesday. Senior ceremony starts at 7:30. Game starts at 8. So if you want to give your respects, 7:30, even though it says 8, 7:30.
Or if you want to chant one more year or something like that, we've heard. We've heard that coming out from PBA. But
yes.
Moving on to the women's team, you mentioned, of course, a couple of the seniors there, Jazz Shelley and Izzy Bourne. Sam Hybe, also a senior. And
she can't come back, which is sad. But I'm just, on a quick little tangent, I'm just so pleased that she got to play this season.
It's incredible.
It's always a blessing, right? When things aren't as bad as you think they're going to be. And I'm just glad that she got that. Like, has this season been what Nebraska has wanted? No. But, it's definitely a icing on the cake that she got to play this season because, before the season, it's like, oh, nope, she's out for the year. Agonizing. She decided to come back. Then doesn't, gets hurt, can't play. Oh, never mind. Maybe you can. And it's just really special that she's getting to close out her senior season on the court instead of on the bench. So anyway, back to actual basketball stuff.
So I think it's kind of interesting in contrast to the men's team, which is going through a really nice winning streak. They had to get right. They had a 4-game losing skid. Included a really tough 95-92 loss to Minnesota where they had their chances, especially to win it late, and then game-winning buzzer beater, ended up going Minnesota's way. And then you go on the road to play Iowa, at home, Caitlin Clark. It was a great atmosphere, selling or getting close to a sellout. I think it was 14,000 or whatever
something
it was.
Like that, yeah.
Great atmosphere. I know it meant a lot to Amy Williams to see that and, to see the support, but that's a really tough stretch for a team to endure, and credit to them the way that they bounced back. 90-57 win over number 25 Illinois. Jazz Shelley scored 26 in that one. Izzy Bourne had a double-double, and return home 80-64 win over Northwestern. Alexis Markowski and Jazz Shelley both have double-doubles. So doing well in the paint. That was kind of the key for those last 2 wins, but really important for them to get back on track because we'd seen those tournament chances kind of fading a little bit because, that Minnesota game would have been a big win to pick up. But getting those couple, getting ready for the Big Ten tournament, which is now just right around the corner.
Yeah. It's they're gonna play Michigan State, which that's a tough draw.
It is, yeah.
That 8-9 is always a tough matchup, and the winner of that will face Indiana. So if Nebraska manages to get through that, we've got another really tough one there. Not to say it's impossible, because anything can happen, but definitely tough sledding for them this week.
Yeah, Indiana, they're having one heck of a year, so that'll be a tough game for whoever emerges out of that one. But really, I think you have to say that they need to beat Michigan State.
Yep.
Because they're still right there, last four in, first four out, depending on what you look at. But
yeah, they've been seesawing there, pretty much for the past month and a half.
Yep.
As of right now, ESPN's women's bracketology has not updated since yesterday. Yeah, Sunday's win, and had them still in the first four out. I wonder how much that makes a difference when that gets updated. But yeah, no, beating Michigan State feels like a must win for them for their NCAA tournament chances.
For sure, last chance.
Both teams
really had a quality win, for both of
teams
them.
on the bubble, different bubbles, but still bubbles nonetheless.
For sure. So we'll look forward to seeing how both those basketball regular season kind of plays out. See if both teams can extend it and head to the postseason. But moving on to a couple of the other sports that we have going on right now in Nebraska, the wrestling team has a Big Ten tournament coming up on Saturday, and track and field recently competed in the indoor championships. Couple players there winning individual titles. Mason Connor in the high jump, Jonah Wilson in the shot put, Axelina Johansson in the shot put, Darius Luff, Lincoln High product there in the 60-meter hurdles, and Nick Bryan in 600 meters. All those winning individual titles. So many of them will be moving on to nationals here in a bit if they keep on progressing and moving. So we'll see what we have in track and spring sports. It's been softball and baseball. We got in a little bit of softball talk on our last episode, but baseball hadn't even started the year yet last time. But softball, they had such a great start to the year, and they always knew it was going to be tough there at the Clearwater Invitational. I think you get a lot of great, Southern, SEC, Big 12 teams there, and it kind of showed. Nebraska lost to all four top 10 teams, which a couple of them were really close. They played Oklahoma State pretty tight, beat really good Texas A&M program, and then bounced back 4-1 showing this weekend. And the pitching, incredible. Again, those were top 5 teams that they were going up there against at the Clearwater, and 6, 7, 8 runs allowed in a couple of those losses. But hey, this 4-game winning streak, only 1 run allowed. They've been phenomenal.
Yeah. I wanted to circle back to track for like 1
Sorry,
second. No, it's okay. Baseball is exciting. Since our last recording, Nebraska has removed the interim tag off of Justin St. Clair. Well-deserved. Several of those not national, maybe Big Ten champions he recruited, and they're here because of him. And it's pleasant to see. I'm excited to see what they can do moving forward. Anyway, back to baseball. Sorry.
But yeah, moving on to the baseball team, it's a long season. They play 50-odd games, so you can only put so much stock into these early season games. But there's definitely some panic after the 0-3-1 start there against San Diego, mostly because of how those games unfolded. You can deal with losing some close games, some nail-biters, but Bats struggled a lot in those first 2 games. And then the bullpen, in particular, was really demolished, including the Game 4 tie. San Diego scored 16 runs on just 7 hits, lots of walks, hit by pitches, couple errors. It was ugly. That was an ugly game, and especially when you consider they had the get back time, they had to end it as a tie, and so Nebraska goes to South Alabama. They haven't won a game all year, and that's a really good South Alabama team, often in the NCAA tournament, playing a good conference down there. It was like a whole new team. Nebraska, they get the sweep, and just total credit, I think, in my opinion, to the entire pitching staff, especially the bullpen. In particular, Shea Shanneman. Coming into the year, they thought, hey, he could be a closer. They wanted some really big minutes out of him, or big innings, I should say, out of the bullpen. And he really struggled in that San Diego series. both his 2 outings. He got hit, a couple runs, and comes out there in that Friday night game, 2 1/3 scoreless. The bullpen didn't give up a run. In fact, the bullpen did not give up a single run all series, which I think any team in the entire nation would be thrilled with that output.
Yeah, it's like 13 1/3 scoreless innings, something like that. It's phenomenal.
And the other 2 games too as well, the offense definitely showed up. Saturday, very comfortable, 15-3 win. Sunday as well, 9-3 in Nebraska's favor. Josh Caron, Garrett Anglim, pair of homers this weekend. In that Sunday game, Michael Garza went 6 scoreless in relief as well, which is, I think he allowed 2 base runners in 6 innings. So, wow, I mean, the job that they did to turn that around, not get too down after that opening series, total credit to the coaching staff and the players for continuing to believe.
Yeah, and it's early, right? Like, it's still February.
Yeah.
Like, don't have to hit the panic button just yet. Like, remember, like, it's been a long time since these guys have played meaningful baseball. So, it'll be fine, I think. Hopefully. Maybe. We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, but it was really important for them to even the record out now that they are 3-3-1, because if they were, 2-5 or whatever it would have been, be really tough going into this weekend because top 10 national teams, Vanderbilt and Ole Miss, included at the Cambria College Challenge up there at Minneapolis, Minnesota. It'll be a Big Ten flavor. I think Maryland's up there too. Minnesota, of course, it's right in their backyard, and a couple SEC teams. It's going to be a big weekend of baseball there. But for Nebraska, I mean, it's a chance to go up against 2 of those teams that, again, are in the CWS pretty much every year. Ole Miss, including not last year's national champion. So they're bringing back a lot of talent as well. If you thought these first 2 series were going to test the team, this is the real test that they've had circled for the entire offseason.
Oh yeah, it's there's going to be some good baseball. I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. So we will see if the bullpen can keep it up or how things even out. Like you said, it's just February, so things will even out over the course of the year. But baseball and softball got some big games coming up this weekend. And like I said, basketball, of course, making that final postseason push. You'll be following along a lot of that action. So make sure everybody follow Amie Just on Twitter. She'll have the updates for you. And as usual, appreciate all of you listeners and viewers tuning in. I know it's been a little bit of a wait, but your support is always appreciated. For Amie Just, I've been Luke Mullin. Thanks for listening to today's Life in the Red.